Hello, I'm City Manager Mark Washington, and so glad to be with you today. Hopefully you're having a great summer, enjoying this weather. Wanted to mention a couple of updates from City Hall. Yesterday our City Commission met, and the staff had the opportunity to brief them on several legislative changes, some related to policy, others related to funding. And let me first of all thank our delegation from West Michigan for advocating for the needs of Grand Rapids. And there was a lot accomplished at the last legislative session. A couple of things noteworthy. We received the ability to create our own local land bank. Now, previously there was a countywide land bank administered by Kent County that dissolved, and the City of Grand Rapids was partnering with the State Land Bank. But now with new legislation, the City of Grand Rapids can create its own local land bank. And we'll have that ability to do so around 2024, and that will allow us to even more efficiently do better infill housing and redevelopment in some of our areas of our community. Also, we, through legislation, have the ability to expand the usage of our Brownfield tax increment financing tools that we have that will allow us to use that not only for cleaning up environmentally contained sites, but also now using some of the funds to create more affordability, particularly in housing, and lowering the cost of sale. So those are things that will help us address our issues of housing supply. As you may be aware, there's a demand for over 34,000 units countywide, and we need all the tools that we can get to help us create housing supply and housing affordability. The City Commission did meet jointly with the Planning Commission to also discuss what things we can do by zoning legislation to further create more affordable housing or accelerate the supply of housing in our city. Additionally, regarding the funding side, we were very fortunate to receive over $90 million in state appropriations for either the city directly or community organizations in Grand Rapids. Specifically, as a city organization, we received $41 million. $35 million of that is specifically to construct 2 fire stations and a training center. We know that as our community grows, the ability for us to continue to keep it safe from fires and other disasters continues to grow, and particularly in some of the areas where we know that our response time is not as we would like it in the 3rd Ward. So there'll be 2 new fire stations, one constructed in Kalamazoo, the other along Division, both able to serve the parts of our city that have been underserved in the past, as well as constructing a new fire training facility that will allow us to relocate the current training facility off of Coldbrook to another part of the city in the 2nd Ward. And so yesterday, the city staff was able to share some of the preliminary construction plans and cost estimates. For the Kalamazoo Fire Station would be roughly $7 to $10 million, and we would starting to plan and design it now. The demolition would start sometime in fiscal year 24, and it will take us a couple of years to demolish and construct it. The same for Division Avenue Fire Station. We're looking at somewhere between $10 to $14 million. And that same design activity starting now, but the demolition would start somewhere around fiscal year 25, and then the remainder of the funding of the $35 million we would leverage to build and design a new training facility. And that cost is somewhere between $20 and $25 million. And so we would relocate the current fire training facility off of Coldbrook, and then we have to reimagine what we're going to use at that facility. That has been decommissioned. It was a former water plant, water treatment site, and it's not being used for its original purpose now. And so the city has to contemplate whether or not there's a city use for it or another higher use in which the city could dispose of that land. And so those are some things that we are contemplating, as well as how we might imagine the use of all of our other city-owned facilities as part of our facility master plan. Additionally, just to highlight a couple of other projects, I mentioned there was another $6 million that we received, and that was for the Martin Luther King Lodge Improvement Project. And right now, the current community center is about 10,000 square feet. With the added state funding, we could develop a $18 million project that will allow us to more than double the size of the MLK Park Lodge to 25,000 square feet, and also add additional features such as a full gymnasium indoor, a fitness studio, a couple of classrooms, expanded pool deck, and some additional locker rooms, and so making it a real nice community amenity. And so we also shared the timeline for that project, where the demolition would occur sometime this fall between September and October, tentatively, and the construction of the project would start in spring of 2024 with a completion date of summer of 2025. And again, this is in part due to state appropriation. We received $6 million from the state of Michigan, and the other $12.5 million is a combination of various sources from Parks Millage, but also through our Third Ward Equity Fund. About $1 million of that is from the Third Ward Equity Fund to help us complete the project. And lastly, there's also efforts to redesign the historic Sullivan Field ballpark. And that project would allow us to do a couple of things, in at least an initial phase, to improve the grandstand. And we've been working with our partners, the Friends of Valley Park, and the state of Michigan has dedicated $1 million, and there's another couple of $1 million of fundraising by the Friends of Valley Field, and other sources of funding to get us to about a $4 million project. So I'm so grateful for the collaboration between the city, state, as well as our community-based organizations to help us in this endeavor. A couple other things that we celebrated yesterday. This year is our historic 150th year, a sesquicentennial year of having a water department. And I am so thankful for the current employees who work day in, day out to provide reliable, high-quality water service, but also those employees of the past who have contributed and have sacrificed to ensure that our water system is one of the finest in not only the state but all of the country. And so we celebrated that yesterday, as well as recognized several employees who have been doing outstanding work. And lastly, we had the privilege to recognize our retiring HR Director, Ms. Desiree Fruge, who has worked almost 2 decades in the city of Grand Rapids and has really helped us make some important personnel decisions, from hiring key executive staff positions like police chief or fire chief or planning director, economic development director, as well as day-to-day employees to help deliver quality services to our community, and helped us negotiate many of the contracts for paying benefits for our workforce. And I want to thank her for her many years of service and wish her absolutely the best in her future years of retirement, and know that she has done a great job to help us build upon this tremendous workforce that we have now in the future. So lots of things that are happening. Hopefully that you are having a great summer, and look to talk to you next month. Take care.